Speaking of regulate, I just mentioned the song, Regulate. I am going to take you on a detour. And that detour is breaking down how ridiculous the song Regulate is. Have you ever stopped and thought about how terribly ridiculous and implausible the tale is that is behind Regulate by Warren G and Nate Dogg? You ever thought about that? Really? You ever thought about that? I want you to think about how this night went and just think for a second how this could all be one night. Kind of like how on the old TV shows, there'd be a gunfight and a shootout every week, and nobody would die, right? So, if I may begin, deconstructing, Regulate. It was a clear black night, a clear white moon. Warren G was on the streets trying to consume some skirts for the eve so I can get some fun. Just rolling in my ride, chilling all alone. Just chilling. Meanwhile, there's Nate Dogg. He just hit the east side of the LBC on a mission trying to find Mr. Warren G. Now, it just said that Warren wasn't really trying to be found. He was just minding his own business, looking for some women. Now, Nate Dogg says that he's seen a car full of girls. Ain't no need to tweak, because all the skirts know what's up with 213. Okay, there we go. Nate Dogg found a car full of girls. So after he found the car full of girls, Warren G turned left at 21 and Lewis, where brothers shooting dice. So he said, let's do this. He jumped on the ride and said, what's up? And brothers pulled some gats. He said, I'm stuck, right? Nate Dogg, however, he's going for the Homeboy Hall of Fame because he has seen these girls. They was peeping them. He gonna glide and swerve, man. It looks so hard, he straight hit the curb. He can't think of nothing better than some hoity tricks, except his homie and some suckers. Suckers all up in his mix, man. So Warren G over here getting robbed. They taking all his stuff. Getting jacked, breaking himself. Can't believe they taking Warren's wealth. Took his rings, took his Rolex. He looked at the dude and said, damn, what's next? Warren, you know what's next. Everything you got, fool. Like, clearly, that's how this is going to work. Everything you've got. They took your rings. They took your Rolex. What's next? Probably your wallet. That's probably what's next. There's Nate. Nate's like, look, man, they got my homie hemmed up and they all around. Ain't nothing I'm seeing if they going straight pound for pound. Go come up real quick before they start to clown and pull out his strap and lay them busters down. Hey, man, I don't know if you heard, but Warren already had to give up his Rolex. He already had to give up his rings. I believe clowning has taken place. You're a little bit behind, Nate. If your goal was to prevent the clowning, then I feel like you kind of failed here. You kind of failed. You did something wrong. You did something wrong. Now, back to Warren G. He got guns to his head, man. He thinks it's going down. Can't believe it's happening in his own town. If he had wings, he would fly. Now let him contemplate. He glanced in the cut, and he's seen his homie Nate. Now, I'm just curious. As someone who's had guns to his head in the course of a robbery, what exactly were you contemplating? Like, what were you? What was there for you to think about, Warren? They are robbing you. How many times have we discussed this on this show? If you are getting robbed, you have one job. And what job is that? Getting robbed. That's all you got to do is get robbed. Once you get robbed, all you got to do is get robbed. And yes, this is a great question, Basco. How much of a sucker did these guys think Warren was when they stuck him up the second he got out the car? He's like, yo, y'all playing dice? I want to play. Yeah, come on over here and play dice, my dude. We're going to rob you immediately. Anyway, yes, while Warren G was contemplating, he happened to see the homie Nate. Now, Nate, he's got 16 in the clip, 1 in the hole. Nate Dogg is about to make some bodies turn cold. Now they dropping, they yelling. It's a tad bit late. Nate Dogg and Warren G had to regulate. So we start this off by acknowledging that Nate Dogg is a homeboy Hall of Famer for his ability to be Johnny on the spot. Right? Johnny on the spot. Saved his partner. It's a good look. And now he makes himself a first ballot homeboy Hall of Famer because he said Nate Dogg and Warren G had to regulate. I didn't really hear anything in there about Warren G regulating anything other than the speedy and orderly transfer of his belongings to these gentlemen he just met. That's right, Sean. And Nate Dogg gave Warren G that co-producer credit. Only role Warren G played in the regulation was getting robbed. And he gets full-on shared billing in the regulation. Now, let us move on to verse 2. Oh, I forgot. Here we go. I forgot about this. Nate Dogg laid all them busters down and let his gat explode. No, it's Warren G here. No, this is Nate Dogg. Sorry. He laid all the busters down. He let his gat explode. Now he's switching his mind back into freak mode. You skirts want to sit back and observe. I just left a gang of those over there on the curb. Hey, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like after you lay down a whole gaggle of busters, I feel as if that you at least need to go clean up. Right? Wash your hands of gunshot residue and other things that the police use to track you. Like, don't you need to go dispose of the gun? I feel like there's a lot of things you need to be doing before you get out here getting on these freaks. I feel as if there is a, like, you know, many a man has allowed women to be his downfall. I feel like you need to focus your mind on covering up this crime, if I were you. And, by the way, if Warren G is such a dude that they're going to rob him the second that he rolls up on the scene, I feel like you need to make sure that Warren G ain't going to snitch on you. Like, I feel pretty confident. Like when somebody looks in those dead guys' pockets and realizes that they have his watch, they're going to trace it back to Warren G. And if Warren G is the dude that people rob on sight, then there's a good chance that Warren G might snitch. Anyway, moving on. Now, Warren G's like, yo, man, they got the freaks. That's a known fact. Before I got jacked, I was on the same track. Back up, because it's on. N-A-T-E and me, the Warren to the G. This is your friendly reminder that Warren G was an awful rapper. My God, he was bad. Never forget that Warren G is the guy who said, what's N-X-E-T? Try to spell next. N-X-E-T. Like Warren G had more talent as a producer, but Warren G in a lot of ways was the Silk the Shocker of the Death Row crew for the fact that his brother allowed him to get on and do some rapping he really didn't have no business doing. Anyway, Nate Dogg with his laser-like focus on the freaks. Just like I thought they were in the same spot and needed some desperate help. But Nate Dogg and the G-Child were in need of something else. Yeah, to dispose of them guns and get rid of your bloody clothes. One of them dames was sexy as hell. I said, ooh, I like your size. What kind of pickup line is, I like your size? What does that mean? She said, my car's broke down and you seem real nice. Would you let me ride? I got a car full of girls and it's going real swell. The next stop is the East Side Motel. Hey, help me out here. But it don't sound nothing like anybody did anything to, like, you know, get their car back working. Like, isn't that of primary importance here? Don't they need to get the car back running? Like, I'm sure that Nate Dogg and the aforementioned G-Child probably had fun waiting on them at the East Side Motel. Except, we're not talking about the Four Seasons. We're not talking about the Beverly Wilshire. We're talking about the East Side Motel. My car is broken down on the side of the road. And they gonna be so easily dissuaded or so caught up in the rapture that they gonna let Nate take them to the East Side Motel. If I may be frank, if you picked them up and their car was broken down, and rather than getting the car back up and running, they are willing to go with you to the East Side Motel. Am I the only one who thinks that maybe, just maybe, you should have saved your $15 that you paid for this room at the East Side Motel? Because clearly you didn't need to take them to no hotel. That was, like, clearly unnecessary. Furthermore, how you just kill somebody and in the same night bring down your blood pressure and everything else to where you and Warren are like, nah, man, let's get smooth with it. Like, you know how we could take the edge off after killing those dudes? Yeah, let's get up with some freaks. They ain't even stop at the liquor store. I don't see nothing here about the liquor store. They didn't even take them to the liquor store. They ain't have nothing to drink for them. They ain't have nothing to smoke for them. All they got's a broke down car. They need to get the car fixed. And Nate's like, why would I fix your car when I could take you to the East Side Motel? And they're like, yo, great idea. That's what we need to do. If you want to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, Regulators, a lot whacker than you remember. Go listen to Regulator right now. The levels on it ain't right. It don't knock right. None of that. None of that. It did not age well at all. Like Regulators was the Here Come the Hot Stepper, except I feel like they came out the same year. But like Regulators and Here Come the Hot Stepper, both were like, yo, them first 2 weeks they was out, they was jamming. And then on the 15th day, I ain't never want to hear that ever, ever, ever again. You go ask anybody right now about Regulators. They gonna say this: I love the beat on Regulators. Go put that beat on Regulators on right now and tell me how much you love it. You go listen to it right now and you tell me how much you love it. That's just what it was. It was jamming at the time. Like, there are some songs that jam at the time, but are simply not classics. That's one of them.